Hey everybody, thanks for joining me. This is 1 week in the life of a teacher. So this week I really wanted to focus on a couple of things. Every week a teacher has ups and downs, and that's great. So every week I want to show you guys, the highs and the lows of my week as a teacher. And I really wanted to illustrate, how I get through it every single week. So I wanted to start off with my low this week. And the low that I have this week is actually, every teacher struggles with, reaching students. And I have a few students in my classes that I've taught in previous years. Now, these are not students that I always talk about because, some students I've had for multiple years, I've taught them, 4 or 5 courses in some cases. And these are students that really get to know me. I have really great relationships with. These students I just had previously last year, and what's happening is, they register for class, and last year they did not earn credit for my class for one reason or another. That could be attendance. Usually it's for grades. And so I get these students again this year, and really what's happening is it's the same things that, the same reason they did not find success before is the same reason they're not going to find success again. And so they have me again as a teacher, and honestly, I feel like I've failed them before, and then again I feel like we're running into that hamster wheel. You just keep running around. You're not getting anywhere. You're trying all this work, but you're never going to be successful. And that's kind of been something that has been a low for me this week. I've had lots of lows. I've been feeling really, really overwhelmed. But that's something I really wanted to point out. Like, you're not going to hit every single student, but I really don't want to mess up round 2 with these students. I really want these students to find success in my class. I'm just going to keep working with them and, figure out how I'm going to do that. And then the high this week was something that actually is kind of embarrassing. I was not very planned out this week. And as a teacher, you really gotta have that plan down. And so I planned what my objectives were over the weekend, the weekend before. But when it came down to the execution, I was like, oh, I know I'm gonna hit this objective, but how? And so I had some late nights this week that really kind of threw me off. And it came down to my pre-calculus class. I knew that it was going to take them 2 class periods to really understand how to handle functions and transformations of the parent functions. Honestly, this is probably something key that they need to have from Algebra 2 that they need to take into pre-calculus. And if they do that, they'll find success in this course. You can not solve for a variable, or you can not find the y-intercept, by hand, but if you know everything there is to know about these graphs, you will find success in this pre-calculus class. So I had no idea what I was going to teach on day 2. I had my pre-calculus classes coming in. I was like, what am I going to do? And so I was scrounging around the night before, Googling, how am I going to teach function transformation? And I couldn't find anything that really connected them with what we were doing. And so what I ended up finding was a card match. And honestly, I did not think this card match was going to work out. But it was a very good challenge for the students, and I really I let them get into groups. Between 2 and 4, I had all of these cards, set up. Actually, let me go get the cards. So I had all of these cards set up right here. Actually, I didn't cut them out. I made the students cut them out, my first class that came in to do it. And I just said you had to match them up. And so there's a description, an equation, and a graph that they had to match up. And the trick is there's no calculator. So, they really had to think about what the functions were doing. They could use their notes, but it was just amazing seeing the dialogue between student A and student B, and like, oh, I think it's this, or I think it's this, and then I come around and I would check them. They would tell me what their answers were, and what was super cool was like, I would tell them they got something wrong, but then the students would be like, oh, I told you it was this. Look, it's because of this. The negative is going to make it flip like this. And so the dialogue that they were having was incredible. And I was just, honestly, it was something that I did not think I was going to do well. And honestly, it wasn't something that I did. But I think something that I did was create an environment where students were able to learn. And that's something that I've been working on my last 3 weeks, and that I have hit really hard this year. And it's honestly, I think that the work that I put in those first 2.5 weeks, when I finally got down to this lesson that I did not feel like I was going to have great success in, the students were engaged. And I think when it comes down to it, having student engagement across the board, across all 3 of my pre-calculus classes, they really found success because it was an activity in a class that they were engaged with. And so when it came down to doing the card sort, they learned every little bit that they could learn from it. Speaking of the card sort and how I went through all of the problems, I did want to talk about how I tell students they're wrong this year. I kind of started it out last year. I no follow through. Last year was a little rough. But I have this little bell right here, and actually let me put it on something, And so this is, there is no name for this bell. It is just the bell. And whenever a student gets the question wrong, I tell them. So initially students thought, oh, that's correct. But then everyone else started to catch on, wait, what you just said is not working out. Now every time a student gets it wrong, I say, okay, what is 5 plus 7? They're going like 14. Now, it's creating a smile for some reason across my classes. And, just a little things like that, telling a student they're wrong, but now, they're wrong. They're making a mistake, but they're having fun with it. Everyone is enjoying it. And, finding a way, I think, you don't want to say no or like, oh, that's close, because, students know that you're copying out with that. So, finding a little thing like that where students can hear something like, oh, okay, I'm not correct, but it's not a big deal. Thank you for watching my video. This was a week in the life of a teacher. I'm Mr. Hernandez. Good night.